Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I'm here with Ryan. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. And if you've been following along with our movie reviews, then you realize we've gotten to the Superman 4: A Quest for Peace moment in our run. The last pit stop before we get to Tim Burton Batman. Is that right?
That's right. We're gonna finally get ready to leave the 80s, see some actual good movies. We're just the last few ones have been torture. So
I like you again. I enjoyed Superman 3. I think it's aged well, differently, but well. It's become more charming. But Supergirl did not, and Superman 4 that didn't age. I mean, I knew what I was getting into, but I didn't realize how poorly it had aged.
well, I mean, I have vague memories of seeing this in a theater, but I mean, I must have, been in elementary school, and I remember thinking back then that was the worst movie that I had seen at that, up to that time. But and I haven't even bothered to watch it since, because why would I? And I actually thought it wasn't too bad. I mean, there are very bad things about it, but the fact that it is just an hour and a half, I mean, obviously they cut a whole bunch out of it, and they were very cheap on all the effects and everything. But and there are some things that are just terrible about it, but it is very much, kind of in the vein of the Superman movies. I mean, we've talked about kind of the tone. There's, the Lois and Clark. There's the, they go to the moon, they go to China or the Grand Canyon, I mean, all of the essential elements, nuclear weapons, all the essential elements of these Superman movies are there.
There was it.
But I mean, it really didn't work, and John Cryer is just terrible, and we'll get into it. And the Nuclear Man thing, I'm going to assume that they just made something up, and that really was weird.
There was apparently an initial plan, and there's a lot of stories about this. As I was looking up to kind of see what people have said, there's a lot of different opinions on what they were going for, and it's hard to tell exactly. We know, for example, that Superman 3, there was an original intent to have Brainiac as the computer villain. That was at least kind of what they were going for. It clearly resembled nothing like Brainiac, but at least that was the world. In this one, as far as I can tell, the goal was that the Nuclear Man was meant to be Bizarro. And that was the character that they had kind of formatted. Christopher Reeves apparently wanted this. That makes less sense in a lot of ways, but there are little moments in the movie where you do get kind of a Bizarro feel about what's going on, but it just, it makes very little sense.
Now they grafted on kind of 80s nuclear paranoia.
Yeah.
And Nuclear Man's weakness is that he can't be inside, in the shade. I mean, that's a pretty big weakness, I would say. Just
Oh yeah. I mean, there's some major there's so many major problems here, and you kind of feel for what's the guy's that Mark Pillow, who was cast as a Nuclear Man. You kind of feel bad for him because they
don't use his voice. Yeah, it's Gene Hackman's voice.
Yeah,
so he's just the muscle guy walking around.
Yeah. It's so painful because he had at least some thought that he would have an Arnold Schwarzenegger-like career, and apparently he was kind of told that, and he believed it was going to happen, but nothing. Obviously, this did not do anything for his career, and it was over. So this also introduces some new powers for Superman. So that's
it though? Because he's, we still have he can kiss Lois and make her forget that he's Superman. That power, he can use his eyeballs and rebuild the Great Wall of China,
which is a new power.
They kind of had some weird powers in Superman 2. If you remember, the other people could move guns toward them and do stuff with pointing. I mean, they had weird non-canonical powers.
It was stupid before. You're right.
No,
But-
they've had weird powers. So I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow it, but it's weird.
I don't know. I see. I'm on the. I think they had not firmly established repair vision, which would have come in handy for things like that earthquake in the first movie, and all the stuff he screwed up in Superman 3. He could have just used repair vision, but we did get repair vision. It's nice of him that he went and cleaned himself up. For sure. This was pretty painful.
Yeah. But we do have Lex Luthor, though. He comes back.
He does.
Gene Hackman. Yeah.
Yep. They basically they got over, or they smoothed over the Richard Donner frustration. So we get Gene Hackman back. We get Margot Kidder back. Both of whom, Margot Kidder clearly believing that it was a mistake every second she's on film. Like, this is one of those movies where you could see the actors pissed that they're involved. Like you don't even have to read into it. Like, she is unhappy in this movie.
Yeah. Who in this movie is having a good time is, I think, the question. Is it Mariel Hemingway? Is it John Cryer? I think John Cryer is having a good time.
I think John Cryer is having. I think Mariel Hemingway is having a decent time. I think. I think there's a couple. Good question. I don't know. I think Mark Pillow, who I think maybe he was having a good time somehow. Yeah. I think the biggest blow to all this, and as we go through it, because it impacted the script so much, is that Warner, from what I understand, basically aligned a pretty significant amount of money to this. They put. I was trying to see the exact number. They funded $36 million to make the film, but Canon, who actually made the film, was basically going bankrupt. I mean, they were at the end. So
they're a famous movie studio, by the way. There's a documentary on them if you want to. A lot of Chuck Norris films, a lot of Breakin' 2, a lot of high quality. No, I mean. Whenever you see like Canon Group involved, oh yeah, this is going to be some just messed up stuff. Yeah.
they basically they budgeted and they funded $36 million, but then Canon turned around and only used $17 million of that. However, they had written a script based on the idea that they were going to have 36, so they cut their budget in more than half.
Wow, and that other $19 million went to cocaine.
Yeah, that exactly right. Yeah, that went to, from what we understand, additional projects. What those were, who knows? But it caused them to dramatically change some of the key moments in the movie. Yeah, I mean, and arguably it helped. Like I said, it's a shorter film. There's really just kind of 1.5 set pieces, and. Well, you say that, but it actually, apparently,
like in the other, would this film be better with more Nuclear Man?
No, I mean, no. This one would be better with nothing more. But they shot. So you're saying from a budget perspective, there was over 45 minutes of additional footage to this movie that was shot and intended, and they cut it back. Not really for budget reasons. I'm sure there was some stuff in post they were saving, but they shot apparently some expensive scenes that they just then left alone. And which again begs the question: what was going on here? I mean, there's a whole subplot around a Clark and Lacey romance that was cut. That was long, and I mean, you want to think of some torture? Think about a nice 15 minutes devoted to that.
Yeah, and then at some point, Nuclear Man falls in love with Lacey.
Yeah,
just inexplicably, and
he's horny.
Kidnaps her. Well, I mean, and that makes sense. You just pick the random girl that happens to,
she was attractive. She looked good. I mean,
sure.
Apparently, to be part of why Margot Kidder was so pissed off is that she looked too good, and so she felt like it was detracting from her. So I mean, it just sounds like a really fun set. A lot of good feelings. One more thing before we get into the movie, though. A little bit of trivia here that I find pretty fun is the Canon Group, Canon Films, was preparing their next film was going to be Spider-Man. and they had the rights, and they were pushing forward, and they had apparently gotten verbal commitments, or at least some indication that the young Tom Cruise was slated to play Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Lauren Bacall was going to be Aunt May, Bob Hoskins was going to be a Doc Ock, and this was their next film, was Spider-Man. Unfortunately, the movie made $15 million, which didn't even recoup its $17 million budget. Studio was bankrupt, and that was the end of Spider-Man. But we almost had Canon Films Spider-Man with Tom Cruise. So take that, Tobey Maguire fans. Yeah. Anyway, we're just shaking our head here.
A lot of running, a lot of Tom Cruise running, in the Spider-Man suit,
It's hard to kind of wrap your head around that one. But let's talk Superman 4. So walk us through this movie. How do we?
Right.
What do we?
Let's just see how fast I can go through this.
Okay.
So there's an opening set piece where Superman saves some Russians in Skylab.
Sure.
He goes back to Smallville, where he's apparently selling the farm. He finds Chekhov's green crystal.
Yep.
He plays a little bit of baseball. John Cryer shows up and breaks his uncle Lex out of jail by trapping the guards in his ridiculous car and driving it off a cliff.
Yeah, John Cryer murders some people in this.
No. There's a scene where the guards are climbing back up, and so that that they're okay, and this can be a PG film, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
sure. If they were in that car, they would have died. Yes.
Yeah. No. There's several moments with Cryer that is murder. Whatever they shot after the fact. I mean, okay, but he killed lots of people.
All right. So, anyways, Clark is on his way to work, and Lois is on the subway. Subway driver has a heart attack.
Sure.
And so Superman saves the day in the subway.
So we kind of get 2 action scenes right out the gate with this movie.
Yeah. No, I mean, they're small, but they're in there. There's some sort of a hostile takeover of the Daily Planet, and there's a evil old guy who is financing it, and he installs his daughter as the publisher.
Yeah.
His daughter is Lacey, who's played by Mariel Hemingway.
Yep.
And for some reason, she's attracted to Clark. She says at some point that all men like me because I'm rich.
Yes. She knows what's up.
Yeah, but Clark doesn't want anything to do with her, so she's very confused by that, and that is apparently why she likes him. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Oh no, that's not. I mean, come on, that's how I met my wife. I just showed no interest, and then that's all it took.
Well, I mean, we've read the books. That works every time.
Every time,
showing no interest. Yeah.
Always play it cool. That Superman's telling you how it's done.
Yeah. So the newspaper starts exploiting this child who, because there's some sort of like nuclear summit that has gone wrong, and this child is like, why doesn't Superman just solve all our problems?
Yeah. Reaffirming this idea of dick children, which this series, all the movies have had a pretty good, healthy amount of dick children.
Right. So exploiting children is a staple of these Superman movies. So it's really good.
Yeah, you always have to have an annoying bastard kid around. And the Daily Planet during this period is turning into basically kind of clickbait. They're becoming BuzzFeed. Right.
So Clark doesn't know what to do. He consults the Krypton heads, who are very dramatic. Just
That's a terrible conversation.
Say random things at him. So he decides to, he asks Lois, and he reveals to her that he is Superman by holding her hand and jumping off of a building.
Yeah.
Which just great.
Awesome.
So then they fly around, the country and land back, and she tells him to do what your heart thinks is right, or some crap like that.
Yeah, terrible.
And then he kisses her, and then she forgets that he's Superman because we've established, that is a Superman power.
I like how he basically uses the reset button. He's like, I'm going to, at this point, you have to wonder if in other movies or in other scenes we're not seeing, if Superman is like, basically, he's kind of horny. He takes Lois back to the Fortress of Solitude. They have a crazy weekend, and then he just kisses her, problem solved. It feels like,
you feel like this happens a lot. Yeah.
I think Superman's done this before. He was very comfortable and smooth with jumping off the building and everything else. And I definitely get the feeling Superman has used the "Forget Me Now" kiss many, many times.
Yeah,
it's early roofie. This film was the inspiration for Arrested Development.
The "Forget Me Not." Yeah. So let's see. Then Superman addresses the UN.
Yeah.
Says he's going to get rid of the nuclear weapons. He gets a giant net that is about the size of a continent. I don't know where he gets this net from. And he takes all the nuclear weapons and he throws them into the sun. Or not all of them. Because there's at least one more that Lex has, during this time, he's done some sort of heist to get some of Superman's hair.
Mm-hmm.
And he is growing a clone somehow.
Sure. Yep.
And he attaches it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Bizarro storyline. So this is where it does hook to Bizarro. It's right. He's cloning Superman. We're getting a Bizarro Superman. John Cryer again is running around like a maniac during all this.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got some sort of like a valley accent that he is trying, but it just comes off weird.
Was it Goyer to like introduce a Poochie like hip for the kids villain son to Luthor? Was that the idea?
I mean, I don't know. What was the name of his other lackey in the other movies?
Toady. No. Yeah. Toady McGee. We'll figure it out later.
All right. So, anyways, he's attached this clone to one of the last remaining nuclear weapons, and so Superman takes that and he, throws that into the sun. And then Nuclear Man is born because that is how science works.
Sure. Yeah.
And let's see. So I guess Nuclear Man comes back. He meets Lex. Nuclear Man has Lex's voice somehow. So, the clone is obviously some sort of a Lex Superman combo there. It's kind of gross.
It is, well, and that's of course a different storyline in the comics, where in the 90s Superboy was cloned from half Superman, half Lex Luthor, and that's how he got Connor Kent. Which was always a little weird. It's weirder here.
Yeah. So let's see. Clark is going with Lois to Lacey's apartment, and they're going to meet Superman there. So it's a double date, but Clark is having to do the wacky Superman thing of, like, oh, I spilled something on my pants. Let me go to this other room. And then Superman shows up for a while.
Yeah, it's a Three's Company kind of scene.
Superman is cooking the dinner with his laser vision. And that makes, Lois go to the different room, and then he comes back as Clark. And a lot of wackiness. But this is all interrupted by Lex talking in the frequency only Superman can hear. And so then he meets Nuclear Man. They have a fight. They go to the Great Wall of China. Nuclear Man creates a volcano, I'm presuming in Italy. And then Superman has to put another mountain on top of the volcano in order to stop the volcano or something. I don't know.
I was waiting for him to roll out that's a spicy meatball or something.
Yeah. Well, he speaks Italian at some point, or he saves some people, and then
he does. Yeah. By the way, back to that double date for a second. Do you get the feeling that? Do you get the feeling that Superman does kind of have in his head that at some point he's going to basically bag both of these women and then kiss me now to forget it? He's just he's got an elaborate double date plan go on, and he's kind of going from room to room, and it's like, oh, he just left. No, here's this guy, and you get the feeling like the plan is to just bang everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they make it back to Metropolis. I think Nuclear Man has taken the Statue of Liberty and is tossing it around.
Sure.
Superman's putting it back, but in the process, he gets scratched by Nuclear Man's fingernails.
Giant silver fingernails. Yes.
Right.
Gross.
And this makes Superman sick, and everybody thinks that he's dead.
Yeah.
Clark is like pictured as like an old man makeup.
His cape falls off. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean, he's not recovering.
Right.
I guess he has nuclear poison.
Yes. Radiation sickness, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, so he takes the green crystal that he finds at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
And
that exists. Yeah.
He uses it somehow to regain all his strength and power.
Yep. Yeah.
Let's see. So then, and then it's at this point that Nuclear Man decides that he wants to date Lacey.
Yeah, he gets horny. Sure.
He wants to abduct her, so he goes to the Daily Planet. He picks her up and takes her to space.
Yeah,
where she has no problem, existing.
No, she held her breath.
She was screaming.
She held her breath and women were fancier back in the 80s. They could do things.
I guess. Yeah. So then they fight again. They fight on the moon, visiting the site of the astronaut murders from the second movie.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice callback. It is weird,
not intentionally. Yeah, but I mean the moon has shown up twice, and again, you can tell the moon landing was not fake.
During this, Superman winds up getting driven into the moon.
Yes,
and then that's when, and while he's trapped there, that's when Nuclear Man abducts Lacey and then takes her back into space. But why? But again, Lacey is just kind of hanging out in space. Again, clearly dead, but not. I mean, she's not dying because she nuclear powers. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. They fight some more, and then I think Nuclear Man is deposited in a nuclear reactor where he powers the whole eastern seaboard.
Yeah,
and is locked in there. So apparently he has no power. I don't know.
Before he depowers him by moving the moon.
Oh yeah.
Which we don't cover the tidal chaos at this. I mean, we don't talk about like poor Aquaman sitting down there in the water. Like, what the hell? Like, I mean,
just messing with the tides. Yeah, he's creating an eclipse so that Nuclear Man won't be able to get his power from the sun. But again, you could just fly somewhere where it's night.
You could do that, yeah, or just wait a few hours.
Right.
No problem. Barely an inconvenience.
So then there's the like Wall Street ending of the Daily Planet being taken back over by the people and not the evil hostile takeover guy, kind of another 1980s thing.
Yeah, you always got to have a little hostile takeover in there. And then
Luther goes to jail. No, Luther goes to jail, and John Cryer goes to Boys Town.
Yeah.
That's not something that has aged well.
No. No, it has not. Yeah, and how old is John Cryer exactly in this?
I don't know about actual age.
No, but I mean,
I'm assuming he's a teenager or a 20. I mean, you would have to assume he's not of age in order to be deposited in Boys Town. But
yeah, but he has to be old enough in this movie. I mean, he's trapping guards, killing people. I mean, like how old is this character supposed to be? But apparently, his character is 16 or younger.
Let's see. So John Cryer would have been 22.
Sure.
In real terms.
In real life, yeah.
Yeah.
But the idea of taking him to Boys, and he tells him, hey, Lenny has been under a bad influence. Except, I mean, he did trap some guards in a car and murder them, sort of. Not really, but maybe. I don't know. This is all stupid. And then Lacey does kind of have a change of heart as well, right? She vows to do better. She wants to. She's like, well, we went too far taking it full BuzzFeed. We will take it back to like Vox. That's kind of where she goes with all this. I don't know. It was. Yeah. Did you feel inspired to watch more movies after this?
No. No, I mean it's I don't know. It didn't. It wasn't great, but I mean, again, there are the typical Superman things in here. There is at least a little bit of wackiness and a little bit of I don't know. I just expected this to be so terrible and so unwatchable, but I think you could tweak a few things and make it at least okay.
Yeah. So a couple things happened here. It would be 20 years, but more movies than that, before we got another Superman. And when we did get that Superman, they just kind of erased these films from existence in the process. But I referenced this 45 minutes of cut footage. Apparently, Canon Films had it in their mind that this 45 minutes would be used to get Superman 5 going, which would involve the Superman dying and then being resurrected in the bottled city of Kandor as a plot. So that script exists out there somewhere. Yeah. None of this was good. None of this at all was a good thing. One more bit of trivia out there. Apparently, the original pick and it was very close to being a done deal. Was that Wes Craven was going to be the director of this movie? So the Nightmare on Elm Street director was going to be the director of Superman 4. It was very, very close. So how would that what would that have been like?
Well, I mean, it probably would have killed his career, like whoever directed this film.
So in that regard, Christopher Reeves basically said no. He was the one who blocked it. Wes Craven wanted it, the studio wanted it, but Christopher Reeves blocked it. And in that sense, he did Wes Craven a big favor. Yeah. I don't know. It's Superman movies or comics have their fair share of camp, but what I was hoping to get out of this film would be more of a feeling of kind of the 70s and these kind of goofier, campier Superman adventures. And it wasn't that. It was a messy ball of a lot of stuff, none of which gelled particularly well. This movie has kind of the dubious recognition of you see the wires at several times. Did you see the wires during the movie?
I mean, the flying scenes were lower quality, definitely, than the previous movies. They used, I don't know, the previous ones, they had like camera movements and other things. And in this one, they didn't even try.
Yeah. The special effects were terrible. And you could see the harness. I mean, Christopher Reeves looks like he's at various times in the movie gained a ton of weight because the harness is, they're not bothering to kind of, get that clipped out or even do it in a competent way. But what's the redeeming part of this movie? What's the good? You said it wasn't as bad as you remembered.
I mean, I don't know.
So far, your big positive has been it was 90 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that is a big positive. No, I mean, so Lex is good. I think Christopher Reeves is doing good work. I think there are a lot of just like typical Superman things. Just saving the day, wacky quips, making Lois, forget that he's Superman.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You like the forget me now kiss. Come on, Snyder Cut. Yeah. Why didn't you have some of that?
They didn't fly into the Grand Canyon and punch out missiles or anything, but
The one of the other bits that was cut from this movie was that there was a second Nuclear Man, or actually the one that we saw for the majority of the movie was the second one, and there was an additional fight scene where the first Nuclear Man is kind of more goofy looking, like the clone didn't work particularly well. And he goes and they have a fight with Superman, him and this kind of monstrous looking thing. And so Luthor gets another Nuclear Man made, and that was a whole sequence that was cut. And as I watched the movie, there were a couple lines where Clark's like, I don't remember what he said, like not you again, but there was some reference to the fact that he'd actually seen this character before, or like there were some lines in there that didn't make any sense until I looked at this. I'm like, oh, okay, so they cut something there. Those giant nails though bothered the hell out of me.
Yeah. Why does he have giant fingernails that can retract and are metallic? I mean just for scratching?
Was this an attempt to kind of tap into Wolverine? Was that the idea that they want, kids love claws? Is that the idea? I don't know. This movie's got an 11% on Rotten Tomatoes, or worse. Maybe I'm actually 11% from critics. And the general feeling is that the Superman series bottoms out here. I do wonder if they're counting Supergirl in with that or not. But I mean, what do you?
Yeah, I mean, where do you go from here? I mean,
only up. There's a lot of strange moments here. Generally considered one of the worst 50 movies of all time. Again, on lists, I don't know. I've seen a lot of movies, so
I've seen bad movies.
Comparing it to Batman versus Superman and some of the recent films. Obviously, the recent films look better special effects. But how does this stack up, do you think, with current Superman?
Well, I mean, obviously, he doesn't use his fix-it vision in the newer films. He doesn't kiss Lois and make her forget that he's Superman.
Yeah, so it's an inferior film, you're saying?
Yeah, obviously. I mean...
Yeah, I
mean, it's hard to do a Superman movie. I mean, we've kind of we've danced around it. It's like he is all powerful, and they just keep giving him weird powers.
Sure.
To just move the plot along. Like, hey, I'm just going to go fast and go back in time.
I don't think it has to be that way, though. I mean, I think
can't he just be strong and invulnerable and?
Yeah, you could have a strong threat. You could make it work. I don't think you need to make it. I don't think it has to be tough to make a Superman movie. But I think these people find a way. It is the random grab bag of powers. It is just various strange things. Like, it feels like, was there anybody who could have kind of just shown up here and said, "Hey, you shouldn't have this woman just flying around in space. Lacey will die if you did that. That wouldn't make any sense." Maybe you don't do that because it's a dumb idea. It felt like there wasn't somebody in the room. Maybe it's because they spent all that extra money on cocaine.
Yeah.
I guess that would explain a lot here.
Yeah. No, this movie definitely has like a third act problem. Like the modern films, and
sure.
I mean, it also has kind of a second act problem.
Second act problem. Yeah.
First.
Kind of all the acts have problems. Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
Who's the star of this movie? Who's the person you enjoyed the most? I despite it was dumb, I still like Gene Hackman. I think he brings even when he clearly and I think he knows he's in a shitty movie. He seemed to still. I enjoyed the scenes with him.
Yeah, he's well dressed. He's looking good. I mean, he's
well dressed.
No, I mean he's having a good time.
I love your compliments here. It's like he talked in English. I mean,
no, but I mean, and I think Clark is out there having a good time. He's hanging out with Meryl Hemingway. He's doing aerobics. Badly. He's doing a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah, there's some comedy that they threw in here.
Yeah,
which Christopher Reeves apparently liked. That was kind of one of his draws to this movie, is that he liked the kind of what if Superman was kind of funny. In fairness, that's the nice. It is a nice antidote to the super grimdark. The Henry Cavill. I mean, can you imagine if they gave Henry Cavill these lines in this movie? I mean, that would be pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of the parallel is Thor. How they turned him from the first movie to the last movie. It's like the last one's almost a comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a good parallel there.
I'm not sure you can go that far with Superman, but I feel like there is like some just inherent goofiness that pretending to be a reporter and running around. I think you can.
Oh my God! You realize so if we draw these parallels, we've had Thor 1 and 2 is our Superman 1 or 2. Thor 3, the more comedy, was the Superman 3 with Richard Pryor. Which means this new Superman Love and Thunder is Thor Love and Thunder is our Superman 4.
So they're gonna have a nuclear man. Everybody knows it.
if one of these villains shows up with long fingernails, we'll know that history repeating itself. They're
gonna have Wolverine in that movie. Yeah,
you heard it here first. MCU news breaking right there. This is how Wolverine gets into the. God damn it! All right. Well, any other last thoughts with old Superman 4?
No, don't watch this movie.
don't watch it.
Just assume that it's bad, and I mean,
yeah. Well, it is. Do
you think the people who watch 2.5 Men, who I guess is definitely not me, but do you think they want to go back and watch this version of John Cryer?
I gotta believe John Cryer's just moved away as far as possible from this film, to the point where he's like, I wasn't in that. He's trying to do the kiss forget me now to the world.
Yeah.
With this movie, I have to believe that's a key thing going on here. Okay, well, we're moving on from this to Tim Burton's Batman, so that's going to be exciting, right? We're firmly into the where are we? We're into the 90s with that, right?
89.
89. Yep. Okay, yep, that's right. 89. Okay, that's going to be fun. Get a couple movies there before it goes off the rails. So,
and boy, how does it go off the rails?
Well, it'll be an interesting comparison to this one. Hey, folks, let us know what you think in the comments. What we have here. Do you have a fondness in your heart for Superman 4? We want to hear it. Do we want to hear it, Ryan?
I mean, we could read the comments. That would be a first for me.
There there you go. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. All that normal like and subscribe stuff. And thanks for listening. Talk to you later. Okay. Ryan is giving the finger, but there's no visual. So that is he's aware that the old tagline of "See you later, nerds" offended some people. So now he's just giving the finger, but again, nobody's seeing the visual. So that we'll put that in post.
All right. Goodbye, nerds.
There you go.